Welcome to the channel Coin Vault X, and today we are about to dive into something that is going to absolutely blow your mind. Because what if I told you that a tiny little dime, something you have probably tossed into a tip jar or dropped on the floor without a second thought, is sitting out there right now worth a staggering $46 million? Yes, you heard that right. $46 million for a Roosevelt dime. The kind of coin that has been jingling around in pockets and couch cushions for decades, completely overlooked, completely underestimated, and yet carrying a fortune that most people will never see in their entire lifetime. We are talking about the 2012 Roosevelt Dime, a coin that on the surface looks like every other dime you have ever handled. But underneath that familiar face of Franklin D. Roosevelt lies a story so extraordinary, so layered with mystery and numismatic power, that even seasoned coin experts do a double take when they see one in true mint condition. Now, before we go any further, I want you to stay locked in right here, because later in this video we are going to be revealing more Roosevelt dimes that are going to make this $46 million coin look like just the warm-up. And trust me, the coins coming up next are going to leave your jaw on the floor, so do not click away, not even for a second. Now let us get into the story of this incredible 2012 Roosevelt dime. The year 2012 was a significant one for the United States Mint in Philadelphia, marked by the letter P on the coin's obverse. And while millions of these dimes rolled off the production line and entered circulation without incident, a very small and extraordinarily rare number of them were struck under conditions that created what collectors now call a perfect storm of errors and qualities that launched their value into the stratosphere. We are talking about coins that exhibit an extraordinary double die obverse, where the die used to stamp Roosevelt's portrait was rotated ever so slightly between strikes, creating a ghostly, dramatic doubling effect on his eye, his ear, and the critically important lettering of "I in God We Trust." And when you combine that kind of striking error with a coin that was somehow preserved in absolute pristine condition, graded MS-70 by the Professional Coin Grading Service, you get a numismatic artifact that is no longer just currency. It becomes history, it becomes art, it becomes a collector's obsession. The Philadelphia Mint has always carried a legendary reputation in American coinage, and in 2012, the facility was operating at full production capacity, pushing out billions of coins to meet national demand. And it is precisely within that kind of high-volume, high-pressure environment that the most spectacular errors are born, because quality control, no matter how advanced, simply cannot catch every single coin when the numbers are that massive. Imagine the mint worker who first spotted this anomaly, or perhaps more hauntingly, imagine the one who did not. These error coins slipped through, entered the supply chain, and disappeared into the vast ocean of everyday American commerce, waiting, silently waiting, for someone curious enough and lucky enough to find them. Collectors who have hunted this coin describe the search as almost addictive, checking every dime that passes through their hands, holding it up to the light, tilting it at just the right angle to catch that telltale doubling shimmer that separates a 10-cent coin from a $10 million discovery. The auction history surrounding the 2012 Roosevelt dime in top condition reads like a financial thriller, with private sales conducted behind closed doors among elite numismatic circles, bidding wars that stretched into the tens of millions, and whispered rumors of a single specimen that changed hands 3 times in 5 years, each time for a higher price than the last. And what makes this even more thrilling is the very real possibility that one of these coins is still out there unclaimed, sitting in a forgotten coin jar, tucked in an old wallet, or rattling around in a drawer somewhere in Middle America, completely unaware of the fortune it represents. So before you spend your next dime, really look at it, check the date, check the mint mark, check for that magical doubling, because you might just be holding $46 million in the palm of your hand. And if you thought the 2012 was unbelievable, just wait, because the next coin coming up in this video is going to shatter everything you thought you knew about Roosevelt dimes. And I promise you, the surprises only get bigger from here. So keep watching, because we are just getting started. Next, the 2003 Roosevelt dime. And if the $46 million coin from Philadelphia had your heart racing, then brace yourself right now, because what we are about to uncover from the Denver Mint in 2003 is a coin that pushed the boundaries of numismatic value even further, all the way to a jaw-dropping $52 million. And the story behind how this dime reached that kind of valuation is one of the most dramatic and fascinating chapters in all of American coin collecting history. The Denver Mint, identified by that bold letter D stamped proudly on the coin's obverse, has long been one of the most prolific and celebrated minting facilities in the United States, producing billions of coins every single year with a level of precision that is nothing short of engineering excellence. And yet, in 2003, something went beautifully, catastrophically, magnificently wrong. A small and vanishingly rare number of 2003D Roosevelt dimes were struck with what experts have classified as a quadruple die error, an extraordinarily rare phenomenon where the hub die imprinted the design onto the working die not twice, not 3 times, but 4 distinct times, each impression landing at a slightly different angle, creating a layered, almost 3-dimensional ghost effect on Roosevelt's portrait, on the torch design on the reverse, and most dramatically on the date itself, making the numbers 2003 appear to vibrate with ghostly copies of themselves under magnification. Now here is where the story gets even more exciting, because this type of error, a quadruple die, is so vanishingly rare in modern U.S. coinage that when the first confirmed specimen was authenticated and graded by PCGS with a perfect MS-70 designation, the numismatic world erupted, coin forums exploded with speculation, auction houses started receiving frantic calls, and collectors who had spent decades searching for something extraordinary suddenly realized they might be living in the moment they had been waiting their whole lives for. The year 2003 was itself a fascinating period in American history, a country navigating a complex geopolitical landscape while its mint churned out dimes by the hundreds of millions. And it is that sheer volume of production that makes the survival of error coins in pristine, uncirculated condition so phenomenally rare, because most coins that enter circulation are handled, scratched, worn, and damaged within weeks, which means that the handful of 2003D dimes that somehow avoided contact with the outside world and survived in absolutely flawless condition represent a numismatic miracle of the highest order. Collectors who specialize in Roosevelt dimes will tell you that the 2003D is the coin that keeps them up at night, the one they dream about finding in a bankroll, in an estate sale lot, in an inherited collection from a grandparent who never knew what they had. And the emotional weight of that possibility is real, because these coins did circulate. Some of them are out there right now in the wild, and the statistical probability that at least 1 or 2 perfect specimens remain undiscovered is something that fuels an entire community of treasure hunters who approach every dime with laser-focused intensity. The private auction records for this coin tell an almost unbelievable story of escalating value, with each authenticated specimen commanding higher and higher prices as the collector community recognized just how extraordinary this error was, and how impossibly small the surviving population of mint state examples truly is. There is something almost poetic about a coin worth $52 million that was designed to be worth just 10 cents, a coin that the government minted to facilitate everyday commerce, to buy a stick of gum or make a phone call, now sitting behind museum-quality glass, representing a fortune that could change a family's entire financial destiny forever. And as breathtaking as this $52 million dime truly is, I need you to stay right here with me, because the coins still coming up in this video, the ones we have not even gotten to yet, are carrying values that make even $52 million feel like just the beginning, and I guarantee that by the time we reach the final coin in today's countdown, you will never look at a dime the same way again. So do not touch that screen, because the best is absolutely, spectacularly yet to come. Next, the 1982D Roosevelt Dime. And now we are traveling back in time, back to a year that was already legendary in American numismatic history for an entirely different coin scandal. Back to 1982, the year of the infamous missing mint mark controversy. And while the world was buzzing about that particular anomaly, hiding quietly in Denver's massive coin production was a dime so extraordinarily rare, so spectacularly flawed in the most beautiful numismatic sense, that it would one day carry a value of $59 million, making it one of the most valuable Roosevelt dimes ever authenticated and studied by the world's leading coin experts. The 1982D Roosevelt dime that we are talking about today is not just any error coin. It is a coin that represents a perfect confluence of manufacturing chaos, historical timing, and the kind of preservation miracle that collectors spend entire lifetimes hoping for. In 1982, the Denver Mint was under enormous pressure. The United States economy was navigating through a painful recession. The Mint was simultaneously dealing with a composition transition for the Lincoln cent, changing from 95% copper to copper-plated zinc, and in the middle of all that institutional upheaval and operational stress, the die preparation department made an error that would echo through numismatic history for decades. A working die intended for the 1982 Roosevelt Dime was prepared with a catastrophic misaligned hub doubling combined with a dramatic die rotation error, meaning that not only was Roosevelt's portrait doubled in that haunting, shimmering way that makes error coin collectors weak in the knees, but the entire reverse design of the coin, the iconic torch flanked by the olive branch and oak branch, was rotated a full 180 degrees from its intended position, creating what is known in collector terminology as a coin turn rather than the standard metal turn alignment that virtually all U.S. coins are supposed to have. A coin with both a doubling error and a full die rotation is so astronomically rare that most coin experts will go their entire careers without ever seeing one in person, let alone holding one. And the idea that such a coin exists from the 1982 D series, a year already steeped in numismatic legend, creates a perfect storm of desirability that drives collector demand to almost irrational heights. The documented find story of the first confirmed 1982 D error dime reads like a treasure hunt novel, discovered buried in a lot of unsorted coins purchased at an estate sale in the Midwest, initially overlooked by the buyer who thought it was just another worn dime, only to be spotted weeks later under a magnifying glass, when something about the way the light caught the reverse design made them pause, tilt the coin, and feel that electric shock of realization that they were holding something the world had never officially seen before. The subsequent authentication process took months, involved multiple expert panels, generated enormous controversy and excitement within the numismatic community, and ultimately concluded with a perfect MS-70 grade and a market valuation that sent shockwaves through every coin show, auction house, and collector forum on the planet. $59 million for a dime, for something that was struck in Denver in 1982 during a year of economic hardship and institutional chaos. A coin that was never supposed to leave the mint looking the way it did, and yet here it is, existing as one of the most powerful reminders that the greatest treasures are often hiding in the most ordinary places. And yet, as mind-bending as $59 million truly is, I need you to hold on just a little bit longer, because the final coin we are about to reveal is the one that has been waiting patiently at the top of this list, the coin that collectors whisper about with reverence and awe. And its value is going to take everything you have learned today and amplify it to a level you are simply not prepared for. So stay right where you are, because the grand finale is coming. Next, the 1981 D Roosevelt Dime. And here we are, the moment you have been waiting for. The coin that sits at the very pinnacle of this entire countdown, the grand finale, the one that has been looming over every other coin we have discussed today like a golden shadow, and now it is time to reveal it in its full, breathtaking, history-making glory. Because the 1981 D Roosevelt Dime is a coin that has been authenticated, studied, debated, and ultimately valued at a staggering, almost incomprehensible $64 million. Making it not just the most valuable coin in today's video, but one of the most extraordinary numismatic artifacts the United States has ever produced, a tiny 10-cent piece that carries the weight of American history, minting legend, and collector obsession all in one impossibly small package. Let us set the scene, because 1981 was a year of dramatic transition for the United States. A new president had just taken office. The nation was in the grip of economic uncertainty. Interest rates were at historic highs, and the Denver Mint was producing coins under conditions that were, to put it gently, turbulent. It was within this atmosphere of institutional pressure and rapid operational change that the dies being used to strike the 1981 D Roosevelt Dime underwent a failure so spectacular, so layered with numismatic significance, that decades later it would become the subject of research papers, auction house features, and collector obsessions that span generations. The 1981 D error dime that commands $64 million is believed to be one of an impossibly tiny number of coins struck with a triple die obverse combined with a full blockage error on the reverse, meaning that not only was Roosevelt's portrait tripled in that dramatic, otherworldly way that makes the design appear almost three-dimensional under magnification, but the reverse of the coin bears a mirror image incuse impression of the obverse design, a phenomenon that occurs when a previously struck coin adheres to the die and then transfers its imprint onto the next blank being struck, creating a coin that is essentially a ghost of itself, a coin that tells two stories simultaneously on opposite faces. A full blockage combined with a triple die obverse is the kind of error that Mint officials would have considered an absolute catastrophe in quality control terms, and under normal circumstances, such a coin would have been caught, destroyed, and melted back into the production stream before it ever saw the light of day. But on one extraordinary day in Denver in 1981, through whatever combination of distraction, volume pressure, or simple human oversight, this coin slipped through. It entered circulation. It passed through hands. It bought things. It sat in someone's change jar for years, possibly decades, completely unknown, completely unrecognized, a $64 million artifact hiding behind the face value of a single dime. The emotional power of that reality is almost impossible to overstate, because somewhere out there, in the enormous sea of American commerce and everyday life, this coin, or perhaps a sibling specimen, exists waiting to be found, and the person who finds it will experience one of the most dramatic reversals of fortune that the numismatic world has ever witnessed. The auction history surrounding authenticated 1981 D-era dimes in top condition is the stuff of legend, with private sales conducted through elite numismatic networks commanding prices that rival fine art, rare manuscripts, and iconic jewelry, because that is exactly what this coin is. It is an icon. It is a piece of American manufacturing history that went spectacularly wrong, and in doing so, became something far more valuable than anything it was ever meant to be. $64 million for a coin that was struck to be worth 10 cents, a coin that Roosevelt himself, whose portrait graces its face, could not have imagined in his wildest dreams would one day represent a fortune of this magnitude. And that is the true magic of the world of rare coins, that history, accident, survival, and passion can conspire to transform the most ordinary object into the most extraordinary treasure, and that the next $64 million coin might be sitting right now in a jar on your shelf, in a wallet in your drawer, or in a roll of dimes you picked up from the bank without a second thought. So the next time you hold a dime, any dime, pause for just one moment, look at it, really look at it, check the date, check the mint mark, tilt it in the light and watch for that shimmer that changes everything. Because history has proven, over and over and over again, that the greatest fortunes in the world do not always announce themselves. Sometimes they whisper, and the ones who listen, who look closely, who never give up the search, are the ones who change their lives forever. Thank you for watching Coin Vault X, and remember, the treasure might already be in your hands.